Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot with Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology reading, which you can find on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. The idea behind the Tarot portion is to provide some further insight into ongoing and current energies based on the day's astrology and Tarot influences. First, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the left-hand side of the page, and then I'll do a quick review of the day's astrology before playing another card that may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The tarot card that sits on the left-hand side of the page right now is the Ten of Swords. And Sun is in Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini too. It's all air signs. It's all about our thoughts, words, and communications. Swords is air in the tarot, and that addresses our thoughts, words, and communications, specifically how we use our thoughts and our plans and our words. Okay, so the Ten of Swords here represents a moment where somebody has suffered a vicious attack of some kind, okay? And it can leave one feeling rather dead. But if you can get a close look at this card, you see that they're wearing red clothes, but there doesn't appear to be a blood. Maybe there is, I don't know. It looks pretty bloodless to me. And that's an indicator that it's not a physical battle that we're talking about. It's not a physical attack, but it is an attack of people's thoughts and words. People have planned against us. They have betrayed us. They have used, possibly even used some of our own words and ideas to bring us down, right? So this can be quite a surprising feeling. It's unexpected. It usually happens very quickly, and it's sort of unavoidable to have to deal with it, right? So this is about things that are beyond our control that can leave us feeling victimized. And, when we have suffered a betrayal, when somebody has stabbed us in the back and we are feeling defeated, there's some good news. The good news is that we know who we cannot trust at this point, right? All those people who lined up to stab us in the back, they can be, very effectively just cut out of our lives at this point. We can leave them behind and give them as little thought as possible as we go forward. And the other good news is, well, it's kind of the same good news. It's the end of a cycle. We were going through something, and whether we knew it or not, it wasn't going well for us. Okay, so then it ended terribly. And now we have a fresh start that we can make. We can have some new thoughts, and we can coordinate and collaborate with some new allies and take the lesson of how we were betrayed, by whom we were betrayed, what sort of clues we had to the betrayal in the past, so that we can, hopefully not allow that to happen again in the future. So we see in this card, I haven't really mentioned this before, but there's a very dark clouds aspect to it. And, when we were in the Nine of Swords, there was a dark clouds aspect. It was a very black looking card. And then when we were in the Eight of Swords, it's a very gray and gloomy looking card. So that's kind of where we've been with the swords. But if you look below the clouds, there is gold on that horizon. Okay, so that is a golden opportunity to make moves, right? That's a golden opportunity to start fresh. Even if we have to become the fool to do so, to start fresh, to make a new endeavor, to make a new effort that doesn't include people that that have betrayed us, that have mistreated our trust. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards with the intention of reminding myself and the cards that the sun is in Gemini, and Mercury is in Gemini right now too. So Sun, Mercury, and Gemini together, this is like a powerhouse for communication, for the sharing of ideas, for collaborating with people to meet our goals. And I'm talking about outer life goals, because the sun is also about a week out from its culmination, a little more than a week out from its culmination. Summer solstice is on June 21. Okay, so the sun is going to be, that's the longest day of the year. That is the sun's most powerful influence of the year. And as we are in this approach to the sun's most powerful influence, we're really feeling those outer life vibes, and seeking to make progress in the work that we do, in our social and civic designs as well. The moon is full today in Sagittarius. It becomes full early in the morning, and realistically, you could probably go out when you know the sun is rising, and you would see the moon setting on the other side of the sky, looking full or nearly very full. So, full moon in Sagittarius. I mean, the moon in Sagittarius causes our hearts to grow wings, and we fly out and we fan the flames of passion in the people everywhere that we go. So, allow your passions to be fanned into a bright flame at this time. Okay, the sun is the brightest flame, so we really want to emulate the sun at this time. We want to shine as brightly as we can. And then when the moon moves into Capricorn after it comes to its fullness, it specifically begins to wane, but we're still in the full moon for today, okay? And the moon in Capricorn is a time when we want to put our heads down and get to work and put our heart into the things that we're dedicated to, okay? And then on the moon side of the page today, we have this moon sextile of Saturn and moon square Neptune, thing that happens right together. And I'm bringing this up because the Saturn-Neptune thing is going to happen a couple times during this week, where we have personal planets interacting with these two with these two outer planets that describe sort of the balance that we have to seek between relying specifically on structure and relying specifically on spirit and our connection to other people. Okay, so there has to be a balance there. And at this time, moon goes sextile to Saturn this morning and then squared to Neptune right afterward. So sextile to Saturn, this is a really emotionally strong vibe, but square to Neptune, this is really an emotionally confused or creatively confused vibe. But what it tells me overall is that even if we feel a little confused, even if we might be a little bit easily deceived at this time, we are emotionally strong enough to handle it. We have the strength to ask the right questions and to get clear on what it is that is bothering us. After the moon goes void, of course, with that last aspect in the sign of Sagittarius, and before it makes ingress to Capricorn, we have this 7 hours void of course period, where the moon is basically not influenced by either of the signs in the sky. It's kind of hanging out there in limbo, and that helps because then we can sort of get to the heart of things in our own hearts and minds without having to account for the filter of the sign influence of the moon. So it's a good time to meditate. It's a good time to journal. Get out your tarot cards, do your I Ching, whatever it is your creative or intuitive practices are that help you quiet your mind and your heart and have the important conversations with yourself about what you can do to move forward, right? After that 7 hour void of course, moon goes makes transit into Capricorn. Like I said, we put our hearts into our work, and then a little bit later, moon reaches its perigee, which is its closest approach to us in its orbit around us here on Earth. So our emotions and intuitions at this time can be at their most intense. We might feel things a little more strongly than we usually do, okay? But not to worry, moon perigee doesn't last very long. It's already, by the time it does this, and it's an hour later, it's already on its way back to the farthest point, which is 2 weeks from now. On the sun side of the page, sun opposite moon, that is the culmination of the full moon. That's the time of the culmination of the full moon, 6:52 this morning. And it's also an opportunity to stop and celebrate what we've achieved. Take a little break from culminating those personal goals. Hopefully we've put in a lot of planning and work last month, and so now we can stop and celebrate and pause and see what we've done, and not have to struggle toward those goals anymore. In the ongoing column, the blessing of insight, Mercury trine Pluto. may not always feel like a blessing because we're still dealing with difficult things. Stuff that comes up from Pluto in our lives, stuff that comes up from the underneath, often gets expressed in the form of fear or insecurity. And Mercury is really in this position. This is our conscious intellect in this really blessed position to be able to see where those fears and insecurities are coming from, right? And Pluto retrograde says, well, we're going through changes on the most fundamental level, and deep inside our hearts and our guts, we're going through these changes. And Mercury trine Pluto says, well, that's great because we also have this insight at this time. We can see what's going on. We can think about it. We can make plans for how we respond to these fears and insecurities going forward. So that's really helpful, and it's with us here for another 5 days. Saturn retrograde, active restructuring of the inner life. Pluto retrograde, active restructuring of the inner life. And part of that is because Pluto is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Aquarius, which is also ruled by Saturn. So these are all very Saturnine influences and ideas that we're dealing with at this time. Okay, one more shuffle of these cards, and I will turn one over. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune. That's very good, friends. Okay. So, I see that here with the conversation about Saturn and Neptune, about, how much we lean on structure and how much we lean on spirit, and how we have to kind of go back and forth, the spirit of connection, but how we have to kind of go back and forth between those two. Like when structure starts to fail us a little bit, we lean on connection, and when connection starts to fail us a little bit, we lean on structure, right? It's very complementary. And it represents sort of a turning, right? That's what I get from it, is like, okay, I'm turning from structure to connection, and now I'm turning back from connection to structure, right? Emphasizing the fact that, to maintain stability in our lives, we kind of move back and forth between those two ideas. And also the full moon is very much represented in here, and also the sun, right? The sun is coming to its culmination. You see that big circle with the dot in the middle. That's the sun. But you also kind of see the moon represented there too, because it's still a big circle, and we have these sort of crescent images on the side. So it's very much about these major players in our lives. And what it says, the Wheel of Fortune basically says, sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, but at this time, the wheel is turning in your favor, okay? Fortune is trying to smile on us at this time. And taken together with the Ten of Swords, I would say that, again, the bright side of this idea of betrayal, or of having been stabbed in the back or defeated, this unexpected assault of thoughts and words against us that leave us feeling kind of flat, really just represents a good opportunity to bring something to an end that was not going well for us, so that the wheel, when it's turning in our favor, can help us find a more golden horizon, can help us make a fresh start, can help us help fortune turn in our favor. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate your presence with me this morning. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.